This talk deals with strategic frameworks. We will look at some of the ideas that have been set out relating to this area. Conventionally, it's considered that there is a trade-off between the four basic manufacturing capabilities, that is, quality, dependability, speed, and cost. So we have four basic manufacturing capabilities, four basic manufacturing issues that need to be considered. The quality of the product, the dependability of the system to deliver according to the contract with the customer, the speed with which it can deliver, the speed in which it can process the materials, and the throughput of the system, and of course the cost of the system. So we have four important areas to look at. The trade-off breaks down if there is slack in the system. If there is slack in the system, then we don't have a trade-off. We have the opportunity to increase perhaps quality and dependability. So if we have slack, as we'll see later, we have the facility to perhaps increase both. But generally speaking, it's a trade-off. The more of one, the less of the other. Let's see how that works. Imagine we have a bar on a fulcrum, and it's balanced. On each side we have two requirements: a requirement to manage cost and also to ensure that there is speed through the system. In other words, that the system is optimized and the throughput of the production system is such that work flows through in a speedy, efficient manner. Now, if we take, let's say, cost on the left-hand side, if the fulcrum tips up, we'll have reducing cost. And if it tips down, we'd have increasing cost. So you'll note here that the reducing is on the top, increasing is on the bottom. On the right-hand side, for speed, it's reversed. Increasing is on the top and reducing is on the bottom. That's just the way this diagram works. So at the moment, both of these requirements for managing cost and also ensuring a good throughput of the system are balanced. Let's just start with this proposition. Now, if we reduce the cost, in other words, if we tip the fulcrum up, let me just put the cursor onto the screen, just here. If we tip the cursor up here, then we're reducing the cost, but also we're reducing the speed at which we can move. We're reducing the capability of the system to produce the products in a fast and perhaps even in an efficient manner. So we have reduced the cost, but we've also reduced the speed. Now there are various permutations we can go through on this one. For example, we could increase the cost, put the cursor back on. In the bottom here we've increased the cost, so we've increased the speed. It's more costly to do, but we're getting items through the production system faster. It's increased cost, but we're working faster. The machinery, the people, the whole throughput is faster, but it's increased cost. It may be we have to pay the workers extra to work a little longer, or we have to pay them for bonuses for extra hard work, or whatever. We need to motivate the workers perhaps. So it's increasing cost. But on the other hand, we've got increasing speed. So we can use this idea of the fulcrum to show the relationship between increasing costs or reducing costs and speed. I said there were various factors that we can look at earlier on in one of the slides. Dependability being another one, which is crucial in assessing the system. And again, we can use the same diagram. I've just changed it from speed to dependability. Here, by reducing cost, we reduce the dependability. That's in the center fulcrum, the central balance. it's tipped around the fulcrum, around the center point. And in the bottom one, it's tipped to increasing cost and also increasing dependability. If you want increasing dependability, it's going to cost more. It's as simple as that. We want greater dependability. It'll cost more to achieve. We've also got quality. You remember we had speed, dependability and quality as 4 production targets to try and achieve, to try and keep get speed through the system, get dependability, so the production system is running continuously, and also to ensure quality. Well, quality has got the same relationship. If we look at dependability, look at speed, quality is the same. If we reduce cost, we will reduce the quality. If I put the cursor on the screen, reducing cost here, reducing quality over here, because we've reduced the cost. If we increase the cost, we will increase the quality. So we have this idea of a trade-off. The trade-off is we have more of one, we have less of the other. So it would be nice to get more of each. And in fact, Professor Slack pointed out that there is an alternative to disturbing the balance, and that is to raise the fulcrum or balance point. For example, simultaneously increasing dependability and quality. So if we look at the top diagram here, the fulcrum, this bit in the middle, the pivotal point, down here it's much taller. So down here you can see we have more dependability and we have more quality because the fulcrum has been increased. That could happen if we have more resources going into the organization. More resources means we can have more quality and more dependability. It's not a trade-off anymore. But it's only a trade-off if the resources are fixed, which of course for most organizations, in the short run at least, they have fixed resources. So for most organizations there is a trade-off. We have more quality, we have less dependability. We have more quality, we have less speed. So what we've got is this idea of the trade-off, and as Professor Slack points out, if we have more resources going in, we'll have more quality and more dependability. Now, Ferdows and Meyer's sand cone model is sometimes talked about as well. This model suggests that although in the short term it's possible to trade off capabilities one against the other, there is actually a hierarchy amongst the 4 capabilities. So the capabilities, speed, quality, dependability, these are not, it's not just a trade-off between them, but there's actually a pecking order, an importance to them that ranks them off, that makes them different. To build a cumulative and lasting manufacturing capability, management attention and resources should first go towards improving quality. It's not as if quality and dependability are equal. Quality, according to this view, is more important. So improving dependability of the system is next. So it's wrong, according to this view, to put them onto a balance and have a fulcrum and see which one is increasing or decreasing, because they are not equal. Quality is more important. Dependability is next. Improving flexibility or reaction speed, that's next. And then of course we've got costs. So we have these 3 areas, the areas we had before: quality, dependability and speed. And the cost of the system, the cost really determined the height of the fulcrum, the height of the pivotal point on the diagram we had earlier. But according to this view, these capabilities of the system are not equal. Quality is most important. Most of the traditional management approaches for improving manufacturing performance are built on the trade-off theory. So normally we look at the trade-off, we have more of one, we have less of the other, because we've got fixed resources. But as I said, according to this particular model, some items are more important than others. For example, the business should ensure quality first. So quality is more important. Applying the model requires a long-term approach, tolerance and patience as well. It requires believing that costs will eventually come down. So it's a question of trying to improve quality, doing as much as possible on dependability, trying to ensure there is speed through the system and flexibility in the management of the whole system, and a belief that by doing this, eventually costs will come down. So we can see the model something like this. We have quality. It's all built on quality. So quality is the first point we meet. Quality is essential. Next we have dependability. And next we have speed. So dependability and speed are, if you like, incremental to quality. Quality is essential. And then the final part, of course, is the cost. Now we can imagine a production frontier. So we have, let's say, 3 products here, 1, 2 and 3. And we have the unit cost on the vertical axis and output on the horizontal axis. Now, if we have that situation where we just plot the unit costs for the 3 products against output, excuse me, if we introduce new technology, then it may be the case that we're able to get more output per pound spent. The unit cost, in other words, has fallen. The unit cost falls because of the advent of new technology. The impact of new technology reduces the costs, so the frontier shifts to the right. Now there are critical values, factors. For example, quality. This affects the business unit's competitive position. And this is why there's so much emphasis on quality in these models. The trade-off model saw quality as somehow equal to dependability and speed. The sandbox was emphasizing the importance of quality. Well, customers are more pleased with high quality product or service. So customers want high quality. So it seems to be the case that in appealing to customers and to maintain and increase sales, quality seems to be at the center. Quality can lead to referral. One customer refers the product to another, and sales can increase through referrals. And there will be repeated business. That's important. And there's protection from competition. The competitors must work hard to match the quality. So the business can gain a competitive advantage over its rivals by increasing its quality, developing a reputation for quality. It's also the case that it's possible to customize the product. This refers to offering a product or service suited to customers' desires or needs. The product is customized. It's almost made unique to a particular customer. The customer has certain requirements. The product can be altered to meet that requirement. Now clearly all of this depends on the price of the product, the importance of the product, the importance of the customer, the ability of the business to be flexible and to enable customization to take place. which brings in flexibility. And there are several points in flexibility which I'll just bring up all together here. Flexibility means faster matching to customer needs. That's point A. Flexibility means a closer match to customers' needs. Customers have particular requirements. Can the business match those requirements? Can it produce a product that precisely matches the customer's requirements? Can it supply the item when it's needed? A faster design. The product could be more innovative and changed more regularly and kept up to date. Is there a lower cost in changing production? Can the machines be switched over easily? Are the machines suitable and modern so it enables them to switch over quite quickly to produce a customized product? So we've got 6 points here. We have the 4 points I mentioned earlier in terms of quality. Now we've got customization and flexibility. And these are critical value factors. These are important factors for the business. And when looking at strategy, trying to achieve these factors is important. Let's talk about mass customization. This seeks to produce a low-cost, high-quality output in high variety. So it's mass customization. So every customer could require something slightly different, and the business can accommodate that. But it tries to produce it at low cost. It also tries to produce it at high quality. We can see there are lots of demands on the system here. Low cost, high quality, and customization. We can see so many conflicts in just the words we're using here. But if a system can do that, if the technology enables it to do it, then that business is likely to succeed and gain an incredibly good competitive advantage over its rivals. Not all products lend themselves to being customized. Electricity can't be customized. It's just electricity. We don't have different types of electricity. I suppose we have AC and DC, and we have low voltage and high voltage. But electricity is electricity. Sugar is sugar. It's not anything else. So it can't be customized that easily. So some items can't be customized. Mass customization, it could be applicable to products characterized by short life cycles, rapid advancing technology, or changing customer requirements. Sometimes we get products and we try to customize them to meet current demand. So we try to alter existing products to meet current customer demand. The world in which we live is typified by changing tastes, the impact of modernity, the impact of advertising, marketing, new designs, new technology. It's an ever-shifting landscape. So there is the desire on the part of producers to try and customize and meet that. And if they don't, then new niches in the market will develop and open, and new entrepreneurs will come in to try and fill those niches. So existing producers have pressure to try and meet demand which is specialized as it arises. So what we've got is one force leading to increasing customization, and the other force leading to increasing standardization. Standardization being the opposite of customization, where the product is standard. All products are the same, as opposed to all products are slightly different, complete customization. So we can see the impacts of these. On the left hand side we have a standard, and the standard could be the world-class standard for a product, which means it's a standard product, but it's made to a very high quality. It's a world-class product. Then we have a standard, but with options, very small options, perhaps slight variations in the design. In the center we have variants. We have different types of product, all related, but different, slightly different designs, different colors, textures, capabilities, variants. Then we have alternative models. So we have different models aimed at different types, different parts of the market. A highly advanced model, a middle range model, an entry level model. We have it with computers, very advanced computers, fairly standard computers, and then we have entry computers, which are quite basic computers. Do the job, but there's no frills associated. And finally we have complete customization, where the customer goes to the producer, tells the producer what he or she wants, and they build a machine to meet that requirement. Now there are four mass customization strategies. First of all, there's collaborative customizers, adaptive customizers, cosmetic customizers, and transparent customizers. Now let's look at each of these briefly in turn. First of all, collaborative customizers. These organizations establish a dialogue to help customers articulate their needs and then develop customized output to meet those needs. So the business and the customers are collaborating. The business is trying to help the customer work out what he or she wants and then tries to deliver that product. So there's a consultation. The customer is invited in perhaps, and the business will dedicate some experts and they will talk about what's required and what they would like to see, and it's collaboration, and the product is designed in that way. Adaptive customizers. These organizations offer a standard product that customers can modify themselves. So it's a standard product, but the customers can buy, let's say, additional parts and amend the product, change the product by adding certain components or taking away certain components or modifying it in some easy manner. It's adaptive. It's the product, but it can be changed by the customers. Cosmetic customizers. The organization produces a standard product but presented differently to different customers. So it's standard, it's a standard product, but different customers see it differently. It's presented differently according to the market niche that it's been presented in. So it may just look slightly different. It may be dressed up differently, but it's the basic product. It just so happens that in one place it's more expensive than in the other place. It's customized. But it's cosmetic. It's not really different. It's essentially the same product, just different. It can happen in all sorts of ways. Sometimes even supermarkets some can develop a reputation for having high prices, and they revel in the fact that they've got high prices and have that reputation because they're appealing to customers who want to be seen to shop in those supermarkets. But they're actually offering the same products as in cheap supermarkets. So cheaper grocery shops have the products as well as the high-end grocery shops. It's the same product except different prices. It's cosmetic customization in a sense. Transparent customizers. These organizations provide custom products without the customers knowing that the product is being customized for them. So customers don't know that the product has been changed because it's aimed at them. They just feel that it's suitable for their requirements. In fact, it's been altered so that it aims at their requirements specifically. The example is often quoted is Amazon. They provide book recommendations based on information about past purchases. In fact, many online sellers do this. If we enter many sites and we look at a particular product, if we look down somewhere, they may say other people who looked at this product also bought the following items. So it's trying to work out what it is that we want and making it available to us without us actually requesting it. Now, dependability and speed. Well, the competitive advantages of faster, dependable responses to new markets or to individual customers' needs should be recognized. So, even though we're talking about quality and the importance of quality, dependability and speed is also important. Dependability, making sure that the orders are filled and they're filled according to the contracts. That's important. But there's also speed, that it's a fast contract. Once the order is placed, the products will come through fast. They will come through in a speedy manner. The customer doesn't have to wait for long periods of time. And this, of course, depends on the flexibility and the ability of the production system to produce the items in a speedy fashion. The technology should be suitable, and if there are areas where the technology has to be switched over, it can be done easily. So the relationship between response time and unit cost, well, it all depends on the technology. It depends on the organization of the business and the type of machines and the type of capability that the business has got. But we can imagine a diagram of this nature trying to represent the relationship between the two parts. Now let's look at cost and productivity. Well, operational activities play a major role in determining the cost of a product or service, particularly during the upfront design for the product or for the output. So, operational activities are crucially important. Looking at the operational activities that are proposed in order to produce a particular product is essential, because these will determine the cost of the product or the service. And it's particularly important during the setup stages, because that's when the bulk of the costs are incurred. The machines are idle, the staff are setting up the machines. In a sense, it's a non-productive phase. So it's important to get the turnover from one product to the next done as speedily as possible. It's always to the producer's advantage to keep their absolute cost as low as possible. So the producers are always looking at costs, and by absolute costs, I think what we mean here is total cost, the total cost of running the business. But that's done by monitoring individual costs, by monitoring production costs, inventory costs, store management, marketing costs, office and backup support, HR costs, and so on and so on. So each individual component must be monitored and controlled so as to keep an eye on the overall costs of the business. Now, productivity, well, a special measure of efficiency defined as output per worker hour. So it's possible to work out the productivity of a machine or of a particular worker by looking at the output per worker per hour. Let me say immediately there are all sorts of issues associated with this. Should we be talking about the output per worker per hour, or should we be talking about the output per machine per hour? Because sometimes the workers and the machines can't be separated. The machine needs the worker, needs the operator to make the machine work. Likewise, the operator, the worker, needs the machine, otherwise nothing will get done. So really we're talking about a combination of capital and labour to generate the output. So productivity may increase, but does that mean that the worker has become more productive or the machine has become more productive? Or both? So it's a highly complex concept. We use it all the time. We talk about productivity as the output per worker. But in truth, is it the machinery that's become more productive or the workers who have become more productive? Let's take an example. Let's say a typist in the 1940s working with a manual typewriter. Now the output could be measured as the number of words accurately typed per hour. Let's say that's our measure. So a typist working with a manual typewriter in the 1940s, how many words per hour can the typist produce? Now take the same typist and add value to the typist in the sense of training and give the typist a modern word processor. Give her Microsoft Office or Google or one of the bigger packages and ask her to type, or him to type, the same document. And you'll find that productivity has increased. But it's not the worker's productivity that has increased necessarily, it's the machine. So it's a particularly tricky concept. This is a partial factor measure of productivity in the sense that it considers only worker hours as the productive factor. For a society to increase its standard of living, it must increase its productivity. Our standard of living means the amount of goods and services we can purchase. That's very crudely what we mean by our standard of living. There are lots of issues in economics related to the quality of life and what we mean by it. But if we're going to have more, then we need to produce more. If we don't produce more, we can't have more. So productivity is essential. It's essential in terms of macroeconomics as well as the productivity of an individual business. There's also the need to focus on the overall competitive situation. Companies need to look at productivity in other companies. If they're looking at their competitors, how competitive are they? What does that mean? It means that they're producing more per worker. And as I said, we're using this term output per worker. We could be using machine, output per machine, or output per department, or output per company, if you like. So it's necessary to try and gauge efficiency against competitors. And sometimes we use this concept of productivity to make those comparisons. Now it's pretty much ingrained into our psyche. We constantly talk about productivity, and we talk about productivity output per worker. It's what most people understand, and in everyday language that's what we say. Well, so be it. If that's our definition and that's what we want to use, we recognize the criticisms, but if we use it, we must get some idea of what the productivity of the competitors are, and that will determine the position of the business in terms of the competitive spectrum in that particular market. Some companies have very, very high output per worker. Let's say some companies have very low output per worker. Well, we know from the language I've just used, which company is likely to succeed and which one is likely to fail. So in this session we've looked at business strategy, and we've looked at various components that lead to efficiency and the trade-off between production capabilities, the speed, dependability itself, the quality. We talked about quality being somewhat more important than the others, and perhaps a straightforward trade-off is not therefore the way to go. And then we talked about the differences between standard and customized products and different types of production that can take place. But that's all I'm going to deal with in this session. I'm going to leave it at that and say thank you for watching.